Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Trans Trucking Talk. Um, Today, in this episode, I've put a Google form on Twitter, and we're going to be taking questions and topic suggestions from um, from people who watch the videos. Um, let's see what job options we have here. I don't quite want to go to a new state yet. I think I'll take this top one to Holbrook. By the looks of things, it's an Arctic trailer, which is going to make things a little more interesting. Um, yeah, this one looks good. It looks like a decent length as well, so we'll take this job. So we have one topic suggestion and one question today from two viewers. So I'll be talking about those, and then if I finish talking about those before the end of the video, I guess I'll just keep rambling. Um, right, I've put the headlights on because we're in the dark now, just checking my controls work. Yep, that's always good. So we'll get started here. So first off, we have a topic suggestion from Randall. He has asked me to talk about the impact of the new self-ID laws that are going to be coming in the UK. This is basically a change to I think it's the Gender Recognition Act, where people will be able to self-identify as trans rather than having to have a medical diagnosis. Um, this is a massive step for trans people, honestly. Um, it's huge that we are able to be taken seriously. Um, when a trans person says they're trans, they're trans. There's no question about it. And if they're trans and then they decide, actually, no, I don't feel trans anymore, that's absolutely fine. And people seem to think you need to decide on one state of being and stick to it for the rest of your life. That's absolutely not true. It's okay to have changes in who you feel you are. It's okay to not know. It's okay to be questioning. It's okay if it's fluid. It's okay if it's solidly one thing for a while and then solidly another thing for a while. And these new laws go a long way to helping make that an easier process. It essentially means you don't have to go through years of waiting to be recognized as the the gender identity that you feel you are. You can just say, I am, for example, in my case, I could just say, I am a woman, and legally that is true. Let's pull on here. It's hopefully going to have a huge impact. It should make um, transitioning socially a lot easier, because the sooner you can have identification and things like passports that match who you are, honestly the better. It helps so much. Like having my new bank card in my new name, for example, has been something that's just been really affirming, and I'll take it out my purse and it's got my name on it rather than my dead name, which is fantastic. So hopefully it'll help with things like that. Um, I think it might also help with getting your um, birth certificate changed, because you used to have a certificate of gender recognition or something. It's a certificate that basically says, yes, I am a doctor and I have diagnosed this person with gender dysphoria, and they have been living as their chosen gender for a certain amount of time. And it's old and archaic way of doing things, really. And unnecessary as well. Traffic is slowing down up here. Um, at the end of the day, the vast majority of trans people know that they're trans fairly certainly, or a large majority, I think. Um, in I I don't think I know any cases in which a cis person has pretended to be trans for nefarious reasons. It's not something that happens. There's so much stress and discrimination and all sorts of things that the world throws at you when you're trans that it just wouldn't make it worth it, in my opinion, for any cis person to try and do that. Um, so the fact that people can, one of the big things I always see is, oh, what if they go in bathrooms and hurt people? The There has never been, as far as I know, in the research that I've done, there has never been a case of a trans person going into their preferred bathroom and assaulting anyone. It's just not a thing that happens, and people who are trans skeptic, I don't like that word. You can't be skeptical that trans people exist because we exist. We're here. But people who don't believe us when we say that we exist, um, they always use this argument of, oh, what if a man goes into the ladies' room and assaults me? And I'm not being funny, but if someone wanted to do that, a sign on the door wouldn't stop them. Um, and they speak like, oh, if a man, in inverted commas, their definition of a man, aka probably someone who was born with a penis, if a man goes into a woman's bathroom, I can't kick him out anymore because what if he's a trans woman and I'll get arrested for discrimination and all sorts of just nonsense stuff that they make up in their heads. Um, if at the end of the day, if someone doesn't look like they belong in a bathroom, generally don't question it, especially if they seem extra uncomfortable, because that's that can be a sign that they're trans and using their preferred bathroom. Um, I know for sure I'm always anxious when I go to the bathroom in public because I don't want to make anyone else uncomfortable. I don't want to scare anyone or be kicked out. It's not a nice thing to have to consider. Um, so yeah, I'll probably always be nervous in public bathrooms, at least for a long while. Um, but a lot of opponents to the new self-ID laws say, oh, men will just be able to walk into bathrooms, and it's always men walking into women's bathrooms. Um, Men will just be able to walk into bathrooms and assault people willy-nilly, and I'm not being funny, but they could do that now. And just to make that, I don't think anyone would go through all of the shit that a trans person has to deal with just to be able to go into a woman's bathroom. I, it just doesn't make sense, their argument in my head. Um, so yeah, to summarize, I think the new self-ID laws will hopefully have a massive impact and make things a lot easier for trans people. Um, and I'm hoping that um, it sort of paves the way for future bills to make being trans a more accepted and protected identity, similar to how you can't be discriminated against legally for your sexuality. It is in there, but it feels like it's still open to a lot of systematic discrimination anyway. Um, but yeah, that's sort of me rambling on that topic for a little while. Our second question comes from Jamie, and this is more of a question. She asks, have you had any experiences that you've either talked to professionals or other trans friends about your pre-coming out life, um, that um, that could potentially have been indicators that you were trans if you'd have known more about it? Um, so I have a fair few. I, as a child, I was always more comfortable around my friends who were girls. I just seemed to get on better with them, and I felt like I fit in more. Um, a lot of the boys at my primary school were really sporty, and there were a fair few girls who were as well, but the groups I hung around with, um, the I generally fit in a lot more with all my female friends. Um, there are also one of my favourite sort of anecdotes is the when I used to play video games before coming out, if I could, I would always choose a female avatar. And in my sort of denial of anything gender related, I said, "Oh yeah, I just play women because I like to look at them." Ha! I mean, true, I do like women still. That is part of my sexuality. I could do a whole video on my sexuality probably. That sounds like a good topic for next time. I'll write that down. But that was not the case at all. I was more comfortable playing as female avatars because I felt like I could identify with them more and see myself in them more. And after coming out and realizing I was trans, I was like, oh, yeah, that would that would make a lot of sense. Um, so that's one of my favorite ones is you really thought it was just because you liked looking at women, and it really wasn't. Um, I'm trying to think of other ones. I know there was a time when me and my siblings and my cousins put on a show for my parents, and I had to play a king, but I had to wear a dress. Um, I know that clothing shouldn't be gendered. Anyone should be able to wear what they want, as long as it's sort of applying to all laws of decency and things like that. Like, obviously, don't go walking around naked in public, please. Um, but wearing that dress as a kid felt really comfortable, and I didn't quite know why. I was just like, yeah, okay, this feels normal. And this was sort of late 90s, early 2000s, so I was very unaware of anything trans related at that point. I was about 7 years old, I think. So, yeah, I'd have had no idea that even being transgender was a thing. So it didn't trigger anything in my mind at that point to think, huh, maybe I'd like to wear dresses more often. I was just like, oh, that was really comfortable. Back to being a boy. Um, so, oh, we need to come off here. I'm going to pull in behind this guy. So, yeah, there have been a fair few experiences like that where I've thought, oh, that makes a lot more sense now. Now that I've come out. There were um, one of the things that helped me realize, or that sort of started me thinking about my gender identity. I used to have dreams where, um, in my dreams, I was a woman, and oh, there's a police car there. Don't crash into it. Yeah, in those dreams, I was um, a woman, or at least more feminine, and I always used to wake up really confused. And if you'd have asked me as soon as I woke up, um, how I felt, I'd have said I felt like a lesbian. Lo and behold, a few years later, I came out as trans, uh, and I'm primarily attracted to women. It's kind of complicated. Um, I, I call myself currently bisexual and panromantic. So I just say I'm bi/pan because it sort of that's what makes the most sense to me at the minute. But I also use words like queer and gay to describe myself because I feel like they also apply. Um, so my sexuality isn't a cut and dry thing, and I think it can be fluid from day to day, week to week as well. Um, there are definitely some days and weeks where I notice men a lot more than I usually would, I think. But as I said, I'll do a whole different video on that. Seeing as we're almost at our destination. Um, there's also one more experience. It was kind of weird. I don't know why I have this memory, but I remember sitting in my sister's bedroom with her, and she we were looking at our school socks. I have no idea why we were doing this, but we were looking at our school socks, and I was jealous that hers went up to her knees. And obviously, at this point, I was taller than her. Um, because I'm 2 years older than her, so my legs were obviously longer. Um, right, let's park it. Um, so um, I was jealous that her socks went up to her knees and mine didn't. So she tried on mine and they went up to her knees, and I was really confused as to why they did that. Because I wanted them to go up to my knees, but they wouldn't. Are we gonna get this here? There we go. Um, so then we swapped socks and tried each other's on, and lo and behold, hers didn't go up to my knees, and I was really disappointed because I wanted my socks to be long and white and go up to my knees. Um, Sports socks just weren't the same. Okay, so we've leveled up here. What should we get a point in? Let's try some just-in-time delivery. I've never really done that before, so we'll do that. Email. This is probably going to be about loans. We can help you grow. I don't want to at the minute. How much cash money have we got currently? We have $26,877. So we've not got anywhere near enough for a truck yet, but we'll keep getting more, and we'll get better and better jobs as we carry on. This has been an interesting episode of Trans Trucking Talk. I've enjoyed answering other people's specific questions and topics that they wanted me to talk about. It's felt really natural to record as well, because it's just been sort of a train of thought video where I've done a fair bit more research beforehand and a lot of thinking about it because I knew what I was going to be talking about. So I felt more comfortable doing a train of thought video. So if anyone else has any suggestions for topics, I will link the Google form in the description. And please feel free to ask anything. You can remain anonymous if you wish. Just put something that won't identify you in the name field. And yeah, I won't answer any questions that I think are trolling me. That's just not something I really have time for. It's not something I want in my life, so just please don't. The question's just going to get deleted. It's not going to affect me at all. So anyway, this has been another episode of Trans Trucking Talk. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.